with you. Flip a doujin in the bed, I'm reading manga till it's 2. Tell me that you love a slip, I go, I'm knowing that it's true. Cause you acting all moe and vanilla in my view. So this is for them waifus, straight 2D flex in my life, fool. If you fuck with him, tell you my dude. Let the beat right out, keep it nice and smooth, yo. Hello?
Hey everyone, welcome to the weeabooze, the monthly podcast where we get drunk and talk about anime. I'm Kyle.
I'm Hunter.
And we have Kevin with us again. Say hi, Kevin.
Hi guys, I'm back with my hentai fans. What up?
And we also have a new guest with us, a new friend, Justin. Say hi, Justin.
What's going on?
All right, so Justin and I guess, all of us, we recently reconnected with Justin. We were friends in high school. Justin, you were part of our OG anime gang back in the day.
Yes.
We sort of fell out of contact as what happens when you go to college and all that stuff. But aside from that, we're back now. And why don't you give us a little bit of background on your anime history, what you like, what you don't like, whatever you want to say.
Cool. Well, I'm not as cultured as Kyle, but cultured. But, it all started on, Adult Swim, Gundam 00. That was the start right there. And then since then, my life has just been trash. I've just been watching so much anime. It's been terrible. So.
That sounds
Hey,
good.
dude, welcome to the club. Hey.
Yeah.
It all starts with Adult Swim.
Yeah.
Or Tsunami.
Yes.
Hey,
Yeah,
there we go. It's always Tsunami. It's one of those two.
Yes.
The way you introduce that is more like you're in an intervention or like an AA meeting. Yeah, I started with Tsunami. Everyone's like, yep, I know.
I forgot.
What are we drinking?
That's the best girl right there.
Hunter, what are we drinking,
Oh,
Hunter?
we're drinking something really good tonight. We are drinking Left Hand Brewery's Fade to Black. It's a seasonal foreign stout, and it is just the best beer ever. It is literally my favorite right now.
It's pretty good. Before we had this, we had...
Pretty good, this guy.
It's pretty good. Before we had Deschutes Jubile Ale.
Jubile Ale, yeah.
That's also pretty good. Well, with all that being said, let's get right into tonight's topic. So, what is the relationship between a medium and the collective aesthetic of its fans? The way in which we express our interest in medium directly contributes to the societal perception of that medium's fan base. Otaku culture is the result of how we interact with anime outside of simply watching it. We remove elements from their fiction and embed them into reality in order to give our hobby a tangible quality. The identity of an anime fan is associated with the image of a cluttered room where every wall is littered with posters and artwork while figures of scantily clad samurai girls are carefully perched on shelves overflowing with manga and DVDs. But why? Where does this impression of the anime community come from? How has the existence of anime resulted in this distinctly identifiable culture? So, to simplify, when I say punk rock, we all envision something very similar. When I say otaku, the same thing occurs, but with a very different image. So, why does that image you visualize exist?
Okay, so for me, I remember watching YouTube videos about Japan when I became interested in it. And one was a dude that was a self-proclaimed otaku. And it's exactly what you mentioned, right? He would sit inside all day, and he was surrounded by video games, surrounded by posters, surrounded by figurines, surrounded by just a bunch of anime merchandise. Didn't ever go outside and just kind of sat in, 16 hours a day and slept 8 or whatever, and just watched anime. The only time he would leave is to either buy more food or buy more anime.
So you're not talking about me, thoh.
No, you work.
Oh, that's true.
That's a key
And
difference.
this room isn't filled with stuff, you broke ass
No,
mother.
I always call him.
That's part of it.
No, he's the tasteful otaku. Look at that. That's an anime poster, right? But it's fucking framed.
He's
right?
efficient.
Look at these.
Well, see
behind
the
you.
symmetry with all of it.
I
This
know,
is
right?
well thought out.
It's
this
all
is
right. Do all the
See,
Ghibli films right here in the
You
back.
have a different version on the
Classics.
take of otaku. You're very classy. You have very subtle stuff, not like a bookshelf of figurines.
Well, thank you. But we'll get into kind of
But he does have the one over there.
the different outlooks on that.
Well, if you look at the main, because anime is a medium that people enjoy in their their own privacy of their own rooms and stuff. So you have to look at when people come together, and that's conventions mostly, right?
Sure.
So Comic-Con and things like that. And what do you see when you go to Comic-Con, right? You see the professional cosplayers, right?
Right.
But then you also see the other extreme, guys dressing up like girls, fat guys, just disgusting stuff that should not exist. And then not only that, but you have YouTubers who have kind of made fun
Sure.
of that culture as well, and have really ingrained that idea into our heads.
I mean, if you go
So
to a
being a
con,
bully.
you don't actually. I mean, most of the people are actually just pretty cool, and they just look like normal dudes, right? Like maybe they're wearing just like an anime shirt, but that's it, right? I mean, yes, there is the like 350-pound guy with like a hentai shirt
But it's
on.
like for just
right?
anime
Yeah.
though, like this is probably for like superheroes. Like I've seen a male Captain Marvel and Power Girl.
Sure.
I don't
So-
see the difference. Just just anime. Like
So I've had the username Secret Otaku for years, not because I'm ashamed of liking anime, but because I dislike the stereotype associated with the term. Plenty of anime fans are embarrassed of being identified as a fan due to the portrayal of the anime community. This is why a subculture dedicated to hiding your power level, so to speak, exists, where people share wallpapers, phone cases, and tattoos that subtly reference anime. If we want anime, Hunter is pointing to my phone case. If we
It's
want
a subtle Evangelion focus, dude.
if we want anime to be regarded as a somewhat respectable medium in the public eye, the public's impression of the anime community is the only thing that matters. Yet anime propagates otaku aesthetic. In a book simply titled Otaku, the author Azuma Hiroki describes otaku-friendly media as an aggregate of information without narrative into which all viewers could empathize of their own accord. So what does that mean? Let's say I love Naruto. I listen to the Naruto openings every day. I have a towel with Naruto's face on it. I even cosplay as Naruto. I'm engaging with the anime in the absence of its narrative. Anime is a medium that advocates collecting by taking advantage of its predisposed otaku market through saturating the community with an overabundance of anime, creating a consistent feeling of incompleteness, the bane of a collector's existence, which is what otaku are in one interpretation of the word, collectors. We want to feel a sense of ownership to these intangible stories that we dedicate so much of our lives to watching, so we buy and buy and buy alongside each anime we consume. Paradoxically, it's this obsessiveness, this way that we show our appreciation, this removal of anime from its narrative that the public considers to be the threshold. Once you brought the two-dimensional into the three-dimensional, you've gone too far. It's weird, abnormal. There's a fear of being associated with media you interact with when you know the ignorant majority has so many misconceptions regarding what anime is. People fear and reject what they don't understand, which is why if you're part of a crowd walking towards a convention, traffic comes to a stop as drivers pull out their phones to take pictures of you like you're animals in the zoo. It's due to this mentality that people are afraid to even mention they watch anime, even though Crunchyroll is ranked like in the top 10 streaming services in the US. Now, in spite of all of this, all this negativity surrounding the almost universal impression of otaku identity, Justin, you approached me with a statement that potentially opposes this outlook on the anime community. But before we move on to that, thoughts on any of the points I just made? Consumerism, how we interact with anime, on the otaku aesthetic. Did I mention anything that originally changed your first statement on, just how we perceive anime fans?
Well, for consumerism specifically, I think that that's not even just like anime alone. Like if you go into any like grocery store, like Walmart, Target, whatever, if you go through the toy section, it's like, the Ninja Turtle section, the Star Wars section, like the Hot Wheels section, like, Transformers or something. All these like cartoons made to sell merchandise. Mm-hmm. The exact same thing happens here. But it seems like the age group is the big differentiating factor.
The audience, yeah.
See, but the thing is, I feel like this is just like you being a fan. I feel like this is just a new thing to pick on. Like,
what do you mean
rock
pick on?
music
I don't
and-
think anything's wrong with it.
no, I'm just saying like this idea of it being bad. Like,
I don't think it's bad inherently. I don't think anyone's saying that it's bad.
There is definitely an idea that like anime fans have certain characteristics about them, but I think that's really changed from even when we were in high school to now. Like I see a huge shift in the amount
of hate or like
no like it's cool to like anime, like whether or not it's
I can
cool to
openly
like it.
talk about
Well,
it
it's
with
just
my
like when
coworkers
people
at
thought,
work right
kids
now.
were like weird, like, oh, you listen to screamo music? Like
Yeah.
I just feel like that's the same process that anime people are going through right now. Just
I still think it's
music.
gotten a lot more, socially accepted.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, most definitely, dude. I went into a game and they were like, this guy had an anime name. He was like, "Yo, Bible Black." I'm like, we're all, and that broke the ice for all of us. We're like, "Yeah, hey man."
Well, let's get more into that. So, As I mentioned, Justin and I recently reconnected, and when I mentioned to him I had a podcast, he almost immediately responded with the thought, isn't it interesting that when you see a piece of clothing with Japanese text on it, or a car with an anime girl on the side, it's automatically cool? So what does this mean? How can anime culture be regarded as cool here, but cringy in another circumstance? Is the image of otaku culture changing? Is this outlook unique to certain people, specific situations, or something else entirely?
That's an interesting point, because it's definitely, you know, in the JDM car world, like, it is huge. Like, there's no doubt about it. Like, anime is
Has
so
a huge influence.
it's huge. Like, you know, just Jap kanji in general, like on like a vehicle or like on a shirt, it's so cool. Like, I was at H&M and some guy was wearing like some random anime girl, like, and I was like, hey, that's a cool shirt. Like, I felt the need to say that's a cool shirt.
Dude, I've been trying to find an Adidas shirt, but with Adidas spelled out in katakana for the longest time, just because I think it'd be so dope.
Right. But like, why is that any different, or why is it a different?
Because it's exotic
aesthetic?
and cool. Just like in Japan, if
It's
you wear
exotic.
if you wear an English word shirt, that's like, it's
They
super
can say
cool,
anything.
right?
It is cool.
Yep.
Well-
It's just cool to have something different.
I'm not saying I disagree, but what's the difference between like otaku culture and the you know, exotic aesthetic you're talking about?
Well, it's like Japan. Like, otaku culture has like appropriated Japanese culture to suit their own needs and to emphasize what they like. And then the rest of us are like, yo, Japan's a cool place. It's exotic. It has its own unique culture. And then the history of it is so awesome. Like samurais and, you know, feudal Japan. It's like insane. So, you know, you look at that, and not to mention all the technology that, you know, Japan has given us, the games that we love, you know, the universes that we love. And it's easy to fall in love with Japan as that far away Eastern country.
So for me, the difference between the two is mentality. Some fans allow themselves to be pulled so far into the medium that they blur the line between 2D and 3D. Others are able to separate reality from fiction and find their own method for interweaving their hobby into their aesthetic. True otaku culture is not evolving.
That's me.
Otaku appetite for
He just
anime-related...
doesn't want to be called a true otaku and like have people look down on him.
Me?
No,
Yes, you, Kevin.
No, I'm just getting sideburns.
You're the
It's
only
cool.
one in here with an opie hat.
Yeah, and it's fucking cool. And one guy pointed it out, and he invited me to his weeb group. And he told me, like, yo, I know the guy that runs the next anime convention. I was like, awesome, I can get discounts. That's how I thought about it. At the gym. It was
Okay,
at the gym, and he
just
hit
because
me
we
up.
haven't had a drink, we're gonna drink to this butt.
Sure,
That is
I'll
what-
drink to that.
Hey,
but-
man, she's hot.
Attack on Titan,
And
bro.
first off, she's my waifu.
Really, that's
it.
Out of everyone that you could choose,
Dude, anyone that gets short hair on me,
It's a
gets
picture of
me.
Mikasa from Attack.
Yo,
on
What is
Titan.
it with you guys?
And
and
she has
short
cool
hair?
hair. She has-
I'm disappointed.
Yeah.
if you have short hair,
I mean, like, really? Like,
Mikasa?
Mikasa is
Come on,
dope
dude.
as shit in the anime.
So, as I was saying, true otaku culture is not evolving. Otaku appetite for anime-related knowledge and collecting is steadfast. What we're talking about here is something else. A form of otaku appropriation. A retaliation against the cold stares of those who look down on anime by embracing the ironic. I never appreciated the traditional otaku aesthetic for my own unique reasons. It's cluttered and encourages clashing art styles. I personally wouldn't want Attack on Titan merchandise next to something from Cardcaptor Sakura due to the lack of visual cohesion. Honestly, for a
I just
community...
wouldn't want Attack on Titan merchandise.
Shut up!
Kevin, your take?
What about Attack on Titan?
Would you own something from Attack on Titan?
Oh, hell yeah, they got cool stuff.
You did not get
The
that.
jacket is cool. They got cool jackets.
Okay,
Dude,
hang
people
on,
wear
hang
the
on.
jacket places, and it's freaking
Do you know what-
cringy. Let's be real. Like, it's weird, and it's not cool.
You don't get the brown jacket. You got black.
Dude, the scout jacket's pretty cool. But
Justin,
yeah, I
Justin,
mean,
that's what we're talking about. Why is it not cool to wear Attack on Titan jacket?
I'm gonna
because
disagree with
it's-
you. I think the scout jacket's dope as hell.
No,
It has
like,
that
it's
jacket feel.
Yo, man, like, you look at
Leather.
the people that are wearing it, and like the fact that it's in a mainstream anime that like people are just doing. To
So
be-
it's the people then.
I think it's the people. Like, Attack on Titan's a fine anime. Like, it's not my favorite. Like,
So
I
you
enjoyed
hate,
it.
Do you hate the outfits? You
I
don't like
just
that?
I dislike it more because it's more
the people.
popular, and like the people that like it
Because it's
I
popular.
don't agree with them.
Because I think you're saying
Their
you hate it
aesthetic.
because it's like, oh man, it's mainstream now. I don't like it. It's just like songs. Like, oh man, it's mainstream
So
now. I don't like it
hipster, dude.
anymore.
No, dude, it's like if I saw someone wearing like a Naruto get up or some shit, a Shinobi get up, like I'd be like, yo, this is whack. Like, why? Why are you doing that? That's the
I-
kind of person that wears an Attack on Titan jacket, though.
But
you
I'm just
know?
saying.
Damn, dude. Like, if I bought one, would you just
Justin-
like take me down a few notches?
Wait,
Like,
Justin. So Justin, if I was wearing Yeezys, which is supposedly cool, but I make it, you know, I'm just like
I
a
don't know,
weird
dude,
person.
if I get
Does that make
Yeezys
me
for free,
weird?
I'd wear
Does,
'em.
does it make
I'd
Yeezy
wear 'em.
weird? I'm just saying, like, it's just the person I'm wearing. The jacket's totally fine.
I mean, I wouldn't.
Right?
I wouldn't wear one. I'll say
Hunter's
that. Right?
driving a car that's in an anime. So is it cringy for him to be driving that car?
Yo, my car's in an anime too, so that is regardless.
They're both
so
in
you're very
initial D,
specific.
so you can
Wait,
shut
Kyle,
the fuck
he's
up.
being very specific of what's cool and what's not cool.
I know, and
so
that's,
like,
that's what we're talking about.
I'm talking
I'm
about
just saying.
So are you trying to make the point that what's cool and what's not cool is entirely dependent on your opinion?
Kind of, and then
So-
that you're a bully.
Let me finish.
You're picking
take
people
a
out that
second
wear
to
that cool ass
appreciate-
jacket.
Oh, yeah,
All
can we
right.
appreciate this Kill la Kill?
All right, take a drink for Kill la Kill.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Did you see
Now-
Kill la Kill?
No.
Did you see that?
I've never seen that, so like, I don't
Exactly,
know.
me
What that is.
either.
All right,
Oh, it's yeah. So the
ridiculous.
more naked she is, the more powerful she is.
not exactly,
That's
but
such a
It's about
Japanese
female
thing.
empowerment.
that's a Japanese thing. Is that what you just said?
Yes, that's such a Japanese thing.
To be naked?
I think that the otaku culture is related to the Japanese male culture in general and the people that create anime.
Well,
They have different things.
no,
Wait,
Attack on Titan is not. I'm sorry. Kill la Kill is not a good example of this because it's all about it's. We've been through this. Kill la Kill is a satire about the oversexualization of young Japanese schoolgirls, and it's about embracing their self and embracing their body and all that positive
I'm just
stuff.
making a joke because you know nothing about it, and it just looks like a big etchy.
Kill la
But
Kill?
Kill la Kill.
Kill
Yes.
la
I
Kill.
have, okay. Maybe if I watched it, it'd be different.
That's
But that
also
sounds kind of weird.
That's also Kill la Kill, but
All
Feudal
right.
Japan version.
But we're getting super off topic. Let me finish what I was originally saying, and then we can come back to all of this.
Yeah,
so,
Justin.
Poor Kyle.
What?
so the last thing I
I've been
mentioned,
here.
the last thing I mentioned is I personally, don't, really attribute myself to the what we consider to be otaku aesthetic because I don't like that lack of visual cohesion. Honestly, for a community so obsessed with aesthetic, I find the image of otaku, the image that otaku emanate to be unappealing. I'm not criticizing the otaku lifestyle. In fact, I'm almost envious of it. I completely understand wanting to fill your room with something from every anime you've seen so that this space you've created encapsulates and reflects the vastness and entirety of your taste, but that's not a sustainable lifestyle for me.
It's
Instead,
also expensive.
it's very expensive.
It's very expensive, dude. That's why I became friends with that guy, so I can get discounts on the
On weed?
figurines.
Instead,
On weed.
I find
anime weed. You want this Attack on Titan? This shit's over the walls.
Instead, I find this other branch of anime culture much more inviting, and I think it coincides more with the spirit of anime, so to speak. This idea of embracing the ironic, which is not the same as ironic detachment, which I talked about in the episode on why anime is not cool. If anything, this phrase aligns more closely with my obsession of juxtaposition, pairing the absurd with the normal, contradicting what's expected of interacting with the 2D outside of its narrative by pairing it with the undoubtedly mundane. I have a shirt that straight up says hentai on the back with the number 34 underneath, like a mainstream sports jersey.
Wait, I thought Jeremy had that.
I have it. Jeremy got it
Kyle,
after I.
Jeremy says
Kyle, Kyle,
69.
Yo, that's tits. I
Kyle.
just want to say that right there. That's
The
awesome.
34.
Thank you.
Is it rule?
And yet you
34?
okay?
That's
so
what
you
it's
wouldn't judge
referring
the
to.
hentai
Okay,
jacket,
we
but you
didn't
judge
say
the
that.
Attack on Titan.
No, because that's cool.
Improv.
Give me a second to finish this and we'll get into it, I swear, okay? So I said, I have that shirt with 34, Kevin has the Opie hat, and one day I legitimately hope to have a car with an anime girl on the side. We aren't making fun of ourselves, we're casually celebrating what we enjoy in arguably fashionable ways. We're removing the 2D from its narrative while maintaining the distinction between reality and fiction. Validity of cosplayers as a professional career, YouTubers on the verge of getting paid to promote anime, and one of the most prominent movements, which I hope you guys are all familiar with, are those countless anime-inspired lo-fi hip-hop channels that stream chill music as looped anime scenes play in the background. I truly think the commonality of those videos in particular will have a gradual positive impact on the overall perception of the anime community. It makes people question the association and pairs anime, a medium with a stigma, to something positive. We associate anime with a mood. It's something we watch alone in the comfort of our own rooms. These lo-fi channels encompass that atmosphere, the same atmosphere many anime convey, while unintentionally promoting those series. This is the type of exposure anime needs. It needs to be treated like just another cool thing in the world, not something you can only appreciate if you spend thousands of dollars on merchandise and have seen every classic. Anime can be treated like an aesthetic. It doesn't have to be a lifestyle. So with that being said, let's go back to all those stuff all the stuff we were rambling about, whatever stood out to you,
Should
thoughts.
be buying those stuff.
Can we just take a minute to appreciate how well that was put?
Thank you.
Because that was awesome.
Thank
Like,
you.
honestly, I got chills.
You got the chills?
I got the chills.
A little down your back of your neck.
Down the back of my neck.
Kyle,
Because
I
like that
appreciate
is true.
You
Like, it's
articulating our thoughts.
Appreciate-
aesthetic versus lifestyle. Like that's huge, man. Like that's huge. Like I'm in the process of creating a brand, so like lifestyle to me is such like that jumps out at me as being like a huge thing. But like it's all encompassing, you know what I mean? There's no it's everything.
Right.
And aesthetic is not everything. Like it's awesome, but I can't put that well, but man.
So are you gonna put an anime girl on your car?
Well,
Wait,
see, there's Andrew Schultz. He's a Formula D amateur drifter with Miku on the side of his car. And it's cool.
That's dope.
That's dope.
It's dope.
I
It's beautiful,
expect your
right?
first album to have a picture of anime on it.
You know,
If
I
you
don't
don't
think
have
that's gonna go over well with the singer, the artist. I don't think that's gonna
You
work.
gotta pick a new singer then. That's like the
Gotta
anime.
change your singer, dude.
Yeah, Justin, you gotta go with what you like. It doesn't.
This is
two people have
this is
clashing
not
sides.
resonating with listeners right now. People don't know about Justin's background in terms of
Here's the
music.
thing. I've talked to like just I make music and I've talked to Luke about using kanji and like Japanese aesthetic in like a future Neo Tokyo kind of setting because that is cool. I
That
see
is
that.
hella cool.
Like,
I
that's
would
cool.
buy that.
But like, there's a line between taking Japanese culture and taking anime culture. You start alienating people when you use anime culture, unfortunately, because if you like anime, you'll like anime related stuff. But all people can appreciate Japanese culture that are open minded to.
No, that's a good
Oh,
point.
we're pretty
right?
open minded nowadays. This is our generation to be open minded. So
No, and that's why I think that anime has become more accepted is because our generation has rose to prominence in the last
open-minded?
8-7 years, something like that.
I'll say the last 3 years have last 5 years. Here, I'll give it 5.
Our
5 years
market
we've been
segment
open.
has expanded because we're starting to make money now. Hunter works at Intel. Kyle's working for the school district. We're making money now, so like people care about what we think now.
So when money is involved, everything matters.
It really does. I mean,
know.
like
Essentially, just like
Money
we're
over
into
everything.
the actual workforce, right? So when I talk with anime, talk about anime with my coworkers, maybe someone else hears it and they're like, "Wow, this guy, he has a stable job and stuff, but he actually likes anime." Maybe it's not just for like degenerates
Or you just like
or
have a
something,
hobby,
right?
like I don't know, like you just keep up with your
So
hobby.
it just
Like, I don't
becomes
see
more
anything
accepted
different.
just a little bit,
It's
right?
just a hobby and
the internet has allowed us to experience that because like my dad, like he never had a medium to like observe anime. Like same with your parents and like Japanese culture in general.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Yeah, you have to get like a VHS from some shady dude about like a release from Japan, right? Like how do you get it before Crunchyroll? How do you get it before?
Funimation didn't exist, right?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
in the 80s and stuff.
Right. I mean, I find that entire period just fascinating of the VHS, essentially black market. Final thoughts. So, the anime community is filled with gorgeous, intelligent, and talented people. We'll talk about the praiseworthiness of fans
Kyle.
in a future episode. You're welcome. But society has ingrained this idea in us that all anime fans are just dirty nerds. Because of this, when we see an attractive cosplayer or someone who looks moderately athletic, we act surprised when we find out they like anime. Otaku and anime culture obviously goes much deeper than the aesthetic of its fans, but the way the world perceives us is one of the many things that hinders anime from becoming mainstream. It's partially our own fault for actively joking about how anime is trash instead of shutting people up by showing them how cool and beautiful anime can actually be. Embrace what you love, find your own style, and don't feel like you have to embrace the otaku aesthetic in order to affirm your stance as an anime fan. Any final thoughts before we move on to questions?
Justin, did you watch Shape of Voice? The movie that you
I
missed
don't
out
see
on?
how that's a final thought.
No, I did not because you guys went on a day I could not go.
That's
Yeah,
fine.
but you watch it though.
No, I did not.
Oh damn!
I got a lot of
Can we
things to
talk
do.
about that.
It's good. You should watch it.
We'll talk about it later.
Dude, Justin, I hella cried.
Did you?
Oh man, it just like opens up and all the piano and you're just
Dude, that
Well,
I told Kyle
speaking
about
of
that
piano
scene.
and crying.
But you know that
your
very
life
last
in-
scene when the
your
music.
lie in April.
So apparently,
Explodes.
I've heard that that's very sad, and I'm gonna watch that with. Okay, fine. I'm getting waved off.
This is not talk about
See,
what we're
if you
watching
are-
time. This is answer question time.
Fine.
We've been
Question.
doing this for over a year, Hunter.
I just get
Way to
caught up.
go,
I just get caught up in the
regular.
moment, man.
We're new to this show, all right? All right, so what was the questions?
So, before answering
You mean
questions,
the criticisms of me?
that's
Yeah.
part of it. Before
Fucking your shamble car.
Before we answer questions, I want to give you guys a quick update on things. So, last month I posted my first video on the Secret Otaku YouTube channel, which covered my first impressions on the fall anime season. That video has gained more attention than anything we've ever done on the podcast. It caused our somewhat stagnant YouTube channel to triple in subscribers literally overnight.
Voice.
I love you guys.
It was also one of the
New
first
one's
things.
doing hella good too, dude.
How many views did you get?
Wait, you have 3 channels?
No. I changed the weeabooze YouTube channel to Secret Otaku because Secret Otaku is going to facilitate everything we do, even like my
You're at
independent
1.5
stuff.
on your Kizu thing.
I know, it's pretty crazy. So,
He's very excited about it.
I'm very proud of you.
I'm
That's like
Good job, Kyle.
That's a
Good
very proud
job.
thing. Yeah.
thank you. It was also one of the first things I made where many of you guys actively and specifically requested that I make more content like that. I can't thank you guys enough for your support, and I can't ignore that type of positive feedback. By the time you're listening to this, my second video, which was shared with patrons last month, should have already been uploaded. It's what you guys were referring to, which is my Kizu. And that Kizu video was on the front page, not only of the anime subreddit, but it was in the top 3 posts of the anime subreddit. So,
Yeah, dude,
Oh,
doing
really?
good.
yeah.
Yo, nice.
My boy.
That's actually
I
really
know.
boy.
I was
Dude,
like,
if you get
It's
in the
him.
top-
It's your boy.
Wait, Kyle, were you on the first page of Reddit?
yeah. Well, no.
No,
Not
he's on the front page of the anime subreddit.
Yeah, that's
I'm
all
about
matters.
to tap in.
Yes.
this
Like,
network.
he was in that Reddit.
I'm about
Yes.
to make a song for him. Try to get famous.
I
because
know.
of Kyle.
Hunter, the closest
Everyone wants my
closest I've
fame.
gone to,
Chilling
like,
in the
inside
room
a
with
subreddit
Kyle.
was 2 pages.
Wow.
So December's video won't be released until as late in the month as possible for obvious reasons. It's going to be my top 10 anime of the year video. The problem I'm facing now, which many of you in the Discord are well aware of, is time. Time was the reason I switched the podcast to a monthly schedule in the first place. I truly want to make more stuff, but it's difficult when you work a full-time job. So the partial solution I came up with so I can put more effort into making videos is to simplify the podcast. Unfortunately, I don't know how to simplify the podcast without having it drop in quality. So if you guys have any suggestions, let us know. My initial thought was to drop the topic portion of the podcast and treat the entire thing like a book club where we just talk about what we're watching, but I worry that's too generic. So please message me wherever. I'm Secret Otaku on Tumblr, I'm in YouTube, the comments, whatever, weeabooze@gmail.com. You know how to contact me. Let me know what you guys think in terms of balancing my workload between videos and podcasting. One more thing, we got an iTunes review from Slanfigma, aka Scrooge Jones, saying, "A new podcast episode is like a new episode of my favorite anime. I'm glad you guys are still doing this. Keep up the good work." Thank you.
That's awesome.
So thank you very much. We recently got a new hardcore fan. They sent us so many questions and game ideas and potential episode topics, so thank you so much. Taku
You gotta say
Amazuki.
his name right or you're gonna lose the fan.
Taku Amazuki said it.
No,
there.
Taku Amazuki is my nakama.
You don't even... Oh, okay. I thought you were going to complain about him because they yelled at you.
No.
This question he asked was about you, Hunter.
I just
about how
called
much
him
you
my
suck.
nakama, dude.
All right. They ask,
That's big praise, right?
what makes it okay to resort to typical developments such as power boosts or willpowering through an event in shonen? The instance that brought this question to mind is when you were discussing Boku no Hero and you gave praise to the scene where All Might overcomes his obstacles by punching it more and overwhelming his opponent.
Dope.
What made this scene stand out compared to other scenes with similar scenarios that get criticized for being unoriginal or overused?
Okay, so for me, the scene with All Might, I don't know. That seems like the most anime thing ever. So the whole premise is that he's interlocked in a battle with a villain, right? And punching doesn't work. The villain has a shock absorption kind of ability, right? So he decides to punch harder and faster, and that works. And that is the most anime thing I've ever heard, right? Yeah. So it's taking something that's very generic, right? Like the Deus Ex Machina kind of thing of like, oh, I'm about to lose, but I had all this hidden power stored away, and just almost satirizes it in that way. Like I think that it's just like it's so generic that it's really good in that sense. At least in this case in Hero Academia, just because he's so, I don't know, that's something you joke about, like, oh yeah, in anime you just punch it more, and then somebody actually just went out and made that, right?
Yeah. That particular scene may not be the best example of power boosting because we already know All Might is the most powerful hero. What made that scene stand out was the fact that we were finally seeing All Might go all out for the first time. It reminded me of this climactic scene from Justice League Unlimited, which was a cartoon I watched all the time as a kid. Yeah, so for whatever reason, the only two people on Earth were Superman and whoever he was fighting. You know, after the villain finished giving his monologue about how he was clearly stronger than Superman, Superman replied that the reason he hadn't won against this guy earlier is because he's always holding back in order to reduce casualties.
Dark side.
If he were to use his full strength, he'd destroy several cities every time he fought anyone. Therefore, by teleporting humans off Earth, the villain had made Superman virtually unstoppable. Like Superman, All Might is sort of a victim of his own strength. But one of the many things that makes All Might a more interesting character than Superman is that at the end of the day, all he can do is punch. And it's that normality of punching something at the expense of his own health, no less, that made that scene really stand out. So there has to be equal risk and reward. There's sort of a Deus Ex Machina out of nowhere power-up in Hunter x Hunter, but it works because Gon had to pay for it. In FMA, Ed got pretty powerful at the end, but he had to make a sacrifice.
Oh my god, sacrifice his bro for it? Oh god, that hits right
He
there.
sacrificed many things beforehand.
So,
all right?
Fuck you.
I think it's risk.
Fuck you. Fuck you.
I think it's risk reward. I think
The risk reward is what turns you on.
yes. I think that's what
Exactly.
makes.
That's like for everything. Like,
Well-
there's no risk, then there's no reason to do
Because
it.
it doesn't feel real, right?
Exactly.
I mean,
Just-
that's the big thing.
just-
Well, okay, so you said it a lot more eloquently than I did, but I
Yeah, fuck
still
you.
think that okay. I still think that the sort of generic argument stands in a sense that, like, yes, it's generic, but I still, every single time that'll happen in any shonen type of show, I'm waiting for that moment. I know it's coming, but I still am going to be excited when it actually happens because I want to see the character with his newfound power, with his newfound strength actually going, back. It's always a climactic moment, even if you know it's coming. So even if it's generic, it's
Justin.
like, I would be disappointed if it wasn't there.
Justin looks hesitant.
That's just my that's don't get me wrong, like I love some of the big animes that do that, but like that's my least favorite part of
Really?
the anime because it just seems so like played out, like, you know what I mean?
You mean like that? I mean,
Just like power boosting,
Wait,
like
Justin,
Dragon
when
Ball
did-
Z is always like the
Yeah,
go-to
the Dragon
for
Ball
that,
Z,
like, the
right.
Dragon Ball
When
Z.
has it? What? So, tell me like a situation where that's not.
Well, like, you know, obviously like Naruto, like they do that a lot, and then like
That's like every
Bleach, they
show.
do that and stuff.
Okay.
And like it honestly, like for Bleach in specific, sorry Kyle,
No.
Yeah, fuck
just
for it.
it's just like it made me like I'm like, yo, on board. Like I know that Ichigo is gonna like overcome this, you know, he's gonna become better and better, and like I just don't believe it, you know what I mean? Like
No, I get that.
to a certain extent.
actually,
Now you can do it right, like Gurren Lagann, right? They did it right, you know, like
yeah.
getting
How
bigger and
wait,
bigger.
wait,
and
wait,
bigger.
wait. How Gurren Lagann do better?
Because like the spiral races.
I mean,
right?
I think
Like,
it was
bigger, bigger,
explained really well in the beginning. But to be fair, Dragon Ball Z explained the Saiyan race they become the most powerful when they're the closest to death. I feel like they explained it, but what makes Gurren Lagann's power up different in that sense? If they were both kind of explained in the beginning.
I think it's better for a completely different reason entirely, and that is going overboard. It's not just, you know, a power boosting. It's power boosting to like the absolute most insane level possible. It's going.
Right, I love something super over the top. They're like, you know what? Planet size. You know what's bigger than a planet, guys? Galaxies. Let's go.
That's
right?
what Gurren Lagann did, right? I mean,
Yeah.
right? They kept getting bigger and bigger
yeah,
and bigger.
yeah.
But like that was cool because like you fall in love with the character so much that by that point, like it is larger than life because you're so engrossed.
You
in
know
the
what
story.
I really like about Gurren Lagann is that even though they're larger than life, the final battle they keep going into the smaller ones until they're actually one-on-one in the smallest, human sized things. And I think
Yeah, I
that's
mean, it fits-
really powerful.
It fits thematically, you know. Gurren Lagann's all about scale, you know, and power of an individual and power of a collective whole and all
Fighting
that jazz.
spirit, right?
Yeah, fighting spirit. So
But One Punch Man makes fun of that, which I love.
Right,
I'm just
this
gonna
is-
say like I
yeah.
love that.
I
Love
still
One Punch
don't
Man.
respect the guy that made One Punch.
you don't,
What?
Kevin? No,
Actually,
no,
okay,
no,
hang on.
no. Everyone
Actually,
stop.
that kind of brings up something because I had forgotten I wanted to talk about this, but something that kind of satirizes but just does the power up in a different way. I'm sorry if this spoils it for you, but Mob Psycho 100, the other show by one, like I was getting so hyped because there's literally a counter in the show that goes up to 100, and at 100 he kind of breaks. Have you seen the show?
I have not.
Okay, so there's literally a counter that shows on the screen at 100 he breaks. near the finale, there is a counter that starts to count toward 1,000, right? And you're really hyped up for what is about to happen.
Mob Psycho spoilers potentially. I don't know what
Yes,
Hunter's going to say.
big Mob Psycho spoilers. But when the counter actually,
I don't like the author. I told you this story.
are we just gonna bash one right now? Is that what's gonna happen?
Stop. We're not getting into one because I know Kevin's argument and it's a completely different thing. We're not getting into that right now, but you can finish what you're saying.
But anyway, at 1,000, like at the very beginning of the climax of the episode before the final episode, it says like murderous intent, right? Like you think that he's about to ball out, right? But then they actually flip it, and
I don't know if you should.
Okay, fine.
Maybe you should leave it
Hunter,
there.
you're going
Maybe
crazy.
you should leave it
You
there.
ruined it for me.
Okay, I will
And
leave
I'm
it
not
at
gonna
that.
watch it, but you ruined
like
it
a
for
fourth
me.
wall.
But
That's kinda like
if
fourth
you've
wall.
never
That's
seen
interesting.
Mob Psycho, I think that the way that they take the final episode is very interesting.
All right,
It's a fun-
let's get back on track. So, additionally, Takuma Mizuki also had a little rant about something we talked about that I want to address. They said, so I listened to the episode where at the end you guys talked about Kakegurui, and I was a little miffed about something Hunter said.
Damn.
He was talking about the premise of the first episode, and what miffed me is how he said, surprise, surprise, she's actually really good at gambling. It bugged me because isn't that how every anime plays out? I've heard a few people revoice this notion, and it always bothered me. Like, if the main character was a dude in his 40s, and he got a call from his brother saying that the brother's son got kidnapped, and all he did was say, I'll join a search party, and he found nothing, and went home, that wouldn't be entertaining. It makes much more sense for the story to follow where the drama is primarily. If we followed Shinji Ikari and he decided not to get in that robot the first time, that'd be it. Like, imagine a really popular anime like Death Note, Code Geass, or Gurren Lagann that is missing a person's influence because said character didn't stir things up. I guess the main point I'm getting at is why should a story suffer for the writer trying to get things stirred up? Isn't that the point of what makes things entertaining? The story has to start somewhere, so what's actually wrong with how it gets started? I've never watched Kakegurui. It's not like I'm some big fan of it. I just don't think that was a good enough point to criticize the anime. It just gave me the question of how many other ways could you really start an anime about gambling?
I was gonna say that I don't think that's a big reason I didn't like it. That's fine, right?
For them to find out, like, I'm really good at what I do for no reason for the story to start
That's
out.
a valid point, right? That you have to start it off some way. And yeah, it's not super original, but it's not like a bad way to do it, right? It's like, yeah, you introduce the character, and since you have seen a couple of these before, you have an idea that, oh, this person might be really good at the plot of the anime. Like, that makes sense, right? It's a fine way to start it. It's not super interesting, but it's not a bad way to start something, right? The problems I had with Kai, besides pronouncing
Just say poker
it,
anime.
Gambling anime.
without gambling anime.
Oh, come on, Kyle. How do you pronounce it?
Kakegurui.
Nah, man. I just
The
want to
problems
hear
I had more with it now, in fairness, apparently in the third episode this changes, but the first two episodes felt almost identical to me because it was almost the exact same plot point. And yes, it's a shallow reason to not like it, but I hated the over intense facial animation, right? I really didn't like that. I know
Sure.
some people love that.
I
and
like
that's
it.
totally fine.
I'm with Kyle. I love that shit. Like,
and
I'm
that's
all the
totally
way.
fine. You can
Justin
love it.
isn't on the mic right now, but he loves that shit too.
No, he doesn't. Wait, you love it?
People are attracted to drama, but drama doesn't inherently make a better story. Shinji could have never gotten in the Eva, and while it would have been a different story, it could have been just as entertaining. There are an infinite number of ways to tell a captivating story. An anime where a character consistently wins or consistently loses can be equally interesting or terrible as an anime where the character's win rate is unpredictable. Yes, the first two episodes of Kakegurui are similar, but she loses in the third episode. Saitama wins every single fight, but you didn't
Yeah,
drop.
but you knew that.
But you didn't drop One Punch Man from a critical standpoint. I think
people
your
like
reason
Ball
for
Gap.
dropping
It
the
was not about
anime
the
was
fights.
unreasonable.
One Punch Man was not about the fights at all.
What was it about, Hunter?
It was about him trying to coming to terms with the fact that nobody knows who he is and trying to fix that. That was the point of the show. It wasn't that it was all
I thought
powerful.
the point was okay. Actually, you may be right. You might be
Yeah.
right.
Okay.
Because he
Different.
didn't
different
want people
stuff.
to know him, but dude,
Let's.
He's the most powerful person in the universe,
Hunter,
and nobody
what he
knows who
wants
he is.
an
That's
epic
funny.
fight. He wants an epic fight. That's what he wants.
Yeah.
It was like
But
a
no
tragedy.
one.
And he got it in the.
Well, okay, the thing is, you're saying that he wants to be known. I think he just wants an awesome fight to live up to that hero status. Oh, come on. He dreams about fighting like an epic fight and someone that doesn't die in one shot.
Right, but anyway, he gets that, but still, it's like it's more about him becoming actually known. That's the kind of the plot, right? It's not about he's gonna win any fight. You just don't know when he's gonna show up, and how the public will not see him do it, so that he doesn't rise up, and that's the comedy, right?
Let's move on to what we're watching. So, what guys are you anime watching?
I'm watching.
What guys are you
Umaru-chan.
watching?
Guys, yes.
I'm
about
watching
the guys.
Umaru-chan
I'm watching Kevin, a
and
lot of Kevin.
Shingeki no Soma.
Kevin, talk to us about Umaru-chan and whatever else you said you're watching.
I'm watching Umaru-chan and Shingeki no
Shokugeki.
Soma.
Yeah. How do you like those things?
I'm liking Umaru-chan because it fills my emotional needs.
Your emotional
Because
needs.
Kyle made me watch Shape of Voice. Not like honestly, it hit me pretty
and
hard.
I would also put Umaru-chan right up there with A Silent Voice. They're just
Okay, they wouldn't be. It just feels my I need to recover from an awesome movie.
Sure. Okay, there you go.
And Umaru-chan fills that void because of cuteness. I
Got
love
it.
Chibi's, and Umaru-chan
Kawaii-ness.
is awesome, and it makes me happy.
got it.
So fucking.
And Shokugeki no Sama, it fills my need to explore new food. And
food,
I
got
like
it.
how they go about describing regular food and making it more awesome than it should be, and I think that's cool.
Justin, what have you been watching?
I have been watching Your Lie in April, and it is incredible.
Is it a drama?
It is. It's
Wait, is it high school, everyday high school?
It's not high school. It's really junior high, but it's
Junior
interesting.
high.
No, well,
Technically,
What?
it's technically junior
Japanese junior high is sort of high school.
high. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay. But it's interesting because it's kind of the first anime that I've watched that is kind of more I'm I like slice of life now. I like high school
Yo,
animes.
Slice is legit.
But dude,
It is I'm yo, this is awesome. I'm a musician, so the music in it is oh my god.
have you seen K-On?
What?
Get the fuck out of here.
What?
Get that shit out of here.
I'm just saying, I feel shit when I watch this.
No,
anime.
okay, so there's an
It's
anime called.
amazing.
Have you
No.
heard K-On?
Love? No, I've not.
Man, our
It's a-
topic game is so weak.
Hang on,
You gotta
so
just
anyway.
Wait,
It's about
well,
music,
what
right?
do we bring up?
But not only in the animation they're playing guitar, but they're actually fingering the chords, and it's proper animation. It's super good. Oh my god, you need to watch K-On.
So, K-On! And Your Lie in April are incredibly different. Your Lie in April is
They're
very
both-
emotional.
Yeah, I was gonna say
love
that. Your
story.
Lie
So-
sounds
oh my
more
gosh.
emotional.
Aren't they both Kyoto Annie?
No.
No, they are not.
Damn, that was my only thing I had possible.
So, what episode are you on?
2 episodes away from the end. So I've
Okay.
stopped watching because I'm really sad about
Yes.
what's gonna happen.
Okay.
Just
So I
keep it spoiler free because I am gonna watch it. But
No,
I'm
I
trying
am
to
gonna
wait.
I
watch
don't know
it
the
too.
spoilers. I know it's gonna be terribly depressing. So I have stopped
That
watching
is
because
very
I don't want to be
spoilish,
sad.
isn't it?
No.
You,
It's not. You
understand
told me
that
Made in Abyss was
few episodes
spoilish.
in.
When I told you about it.
Can you elaborate? What do you mean by that?
I told you, my friend told me it was going to be very sad at the end.
Mm-hmm.
You told me, that's considered spoilish, telling me that it's emotional and shit.
I think it's different for Made in Abyss because Made in Abyss isn't an inherently sad show, whereas Your Lie in April has a very, it's very tonally depressing throughout the entire thing. You know it's going to be sad from the start, whereas, what's the anime? Abyss.
Made in
Abyss isn't.
Come on, don't lose the name on
Sorry,
that.
drinking.
You're hurting myself.
I'm drinking.
Drinking.
Anyways, I see your point. I can recommend you a lot of musical anime, Justin. I think you would love Kids on the Slope. I think you would love Beck. You would love Beck.
Yes.
In chat, you were recommended Hibiki Euphonium.
Hibika Euphonium. That is
And
good
Bible on the
animation.
side.
It's K-On! With tubas.
That's so.
Two
I'll check it
bucks.
out. Word.
Also, not also. Next, Hunter, what are you watching?
Okay, so recently we all watched Koe no Katachi, or
Shape of
Silent
Voice.
Voice.
Silent-
Shape of Voice.
No,
Is
The
it
shape
Silent
of
Voice?
voice is what happens at the end. That's what it says.
no. It says that at the beginning as well, and it's just a translation error.
It's a silent voice.
When you look up that name, it say the movie
Which
title
one
is
makes
called
more
Shape-
sense? Okay.
I like the
Have you
Shape of
seen the
Voice.
movie? A silent voice makes a lot of
Shape
sense.
of
I
Voice.
was there with you, and I
Yeah, you were
cried.
there.
Stop fighting. Shape of Voice is the more literal translation, where a silent voice is the translation that makes more sense in the English
But
diction.
Shape of Voice is more creative and gets the viewers. If you
Okay,
if
anyway.
you had to choose between silent
Let's-
voice and shape of voice, I choose shape of voice.
I would choose silent, or I would just say Koi no
Because you're
Katachi.
that guy.
Hunter, talk about anime.
Kevin gets nice and
Kevin,
belligerent.
stop yelling about anime.
Okay, so
What? This is weird. Well, no, I get to yell about anything.
When it's your turn. How did you like a silent voice?
So, okay, to preface this, I got a silent voice and Your Lie in April confused.
Okay.
I know that might sound weird.
It's fine.
But I got them confused. So the entire time I was watching a silent voice, I was like, shit's going to go bad. People are going to die. It's going to be really sad really fast, right? So I'm watching the entire thing, like, seat on the edge. I'm like, this is too happy. It's about to get really bad, right?
Wait, you thought it was happy?
No, you
It's kinda
misunderstood.
happy.
Well,
The end of Koi no Katachi, it's a little bit, it's a little...
Kyle, you thought it was happy too? Get
no,
the fuck out.
no. I do not agree with happy.
Okay, but I don't know, bittersweet. I mean, I thought it was going to be horribly depressing. Like, people are going to get cancer. Like, I thought it was going to be awful, right?
Sure.
Anyway, one thing that really stood out to me about it is the music. You know, I think that
Yes.
the music, the design of the music was really cool. There was like this glitch track in the middle, like during something that was kind of chaotic and a lot of like running around, where it was like, you know, a lot of like, you know, what, it didn't have a rhythm to it. It was just like,
Dissonant.
yeah, dissonant. That's a really good word for it. And then at the end, there's you know, really big piano piece that really set the tone for what's happening at the end with all the well, I'm not going to try to spoil it, but I think that the music design is one of the big reasons that I liked it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was also just
ending for me.
as you know, emotional as pieces of it were, there were also lighthearted humor bits injected into it, and just cuteness in general. Like what's that girl's name? Ueme or something?
Oh, no.
Ueno, jumping on the back of the bike and going like go go, like just like you know,
Oh wait,
pieces of
the
the
long hair kind of
yeah, the long hair
Okay.
girl.
The one
Best-
who worked at the
best
cat
girl.
cafe.
cat. There you go. See, yeah,
she's
it's
a
the cat
bitch.
part. I was like, that's how I attached her.
Yeah.
Right. So I liked where there were, you know, pieces of humor injected to an otherwise emotional story. I really liked the juxtaposition of something like that.
Sure,
So
something
all in all,
yeah.
I really I found it really good, and I'm gonna try to rewatch it,
Mm-hmm.
you know, in a few months or so,
Cool.
because I think that you got a lot more out of it knowing how it, you know.
Wait, Kyle, let me ask
Like-
you: do you feel like watching the second part a second time helped you a lot, or no?
Yeah, that's what I mean. I think that watching it a second time, you get a little bit more out of the story.
No, I watched it the first time, and it was so emotionally draining. I did not want to watch it a second time, but I really wanted to see it in theaters, so I took all my friends to see it, and that's what happened. I think seeing it once is more than enough. There's a lot of anime I don't want to rewatch, and A Silent Voice, as pretty and beautiful as it was one of them.
Well, I'm gonna rewatch it.
So.
Why do you not want to rewatch it? I feel like the second time you watched it, you got a lot of things that you didn't see before. Like
For the most part, I agree, but there are certain shows that are so emotional that it's very difficult to rewatch. For example, Your Lie in April is probably a very difficult show to rewatch.
That one I could understand, being from what I've heard of it.
Okay.
That's an interesting idea, that you would not want to watch a rewatch an anime because of the fact that it is emotional in the discovery of the plot.
Or where some sort of show or whatever medium is like so, you know, not knowing what happened is such a big draw to watching it that, you know, you just can't watch it a second time because you know what's going to happen and it ruins it for you.
That's,
All right.
it depends what mentality you're going into it, though. Like for me, like if I'm watching the second time, I'm watching for like specific things. Like I'm trying to find out things I didn't see before. Like I bet I didn't bet. I watched like for the specific part of the little kid. I saw a lot of things I didn't notice because I was just so emotional. I was like crying at most of them.
You can
most
read-
of the part I was crying. Like
You couldn't read
guys
the
didn't
subs
see
through
me.
your
I was
tears.
literally like I was like, oh,
yo, that takes a big man to admit that you're crying, man.
I was hella
Respect.
crying. No, it got me.
Respect.
I was like, oh, man. And then Cal recommended me Made in the Biz. I was like, oh man, I can't do this. Like I cannot do this right now. Like you just want me to go suicide or some shit after that. But
All right. So I have a lot of anime to talk about, so you guys may want to sit back and relax for a bit. So
Back, relax.
So here are the shows I'm watching. I haven't talked about these since my video on my first impressions, so this is not everything I'm watching. It is everything I'm watching worth talking about. So, Children of the Whales is starting to feel like a truly immersive and comprehensive adventure story with an incredibly distinct world. The show isn't afraid to embrace the reality of war and violence, killing off characters, and using death as a motivational tool to help certain characters grow and act. It also recently presented a really admirable message, not always presented in anime, which is that the old ways of doing things isn't always the right way, and sometimes we need to betray customs in order to progress and live in a better world. I'm really enjoying the series so far, but I'm always skeptical of anime that focus on the world more than its characters, and Children of the Whales seems like it may be leaning a bit more towards the world aspect. Hoseki no Kuni is similar in the sense that it's another adventure story with a really unique world, but unlike Children of the Whales, the fiction or magic of the world seems to be secondary. Hoseki no Kuni utilizes the conflict of its bizarre story as a means to enhance the characterization rather than using it as a means to distract us from bland characters. Ironically, the characters feel more human than those in Children of the Whales. Their dialogue flows much more naturally, whereas dialogue in Children of the Whales feels a bit more scripted. They're both good. I don't think it's entirely fair for me to compare the two. I just happen to interpret these as similar. So, Ancient Magus Bride is good. And Hunter, you actually saw...
Is this the one that we saw the first 3 episodes of?
Yeah, we watched the first 3 episodes in theater. I'm not quite comprehending the hype surrounding the series, though. I think it's far better than the majority of mediocre anime that are released each season, but I'm not captivated by it. I think my biggest complaint stems from the show's primary concept that revolves around the relationship between the 2 main characters. I don't agree with the Stockholm Syndrome dynamics going on.
It's pretty weird.
I think it was in episode 5 where the girl defended her beliefs by saying even if this magical dude ends up using her, which he is, she's happy because he's the first person to ever care about her. And the anime glorifies that belief. I'm still enjoying Ginny Tyson, but for entirely different reasons than what originally attracted me to the series. As I said in my first impressions video, Ginny Tyson appeared to be this brutal and calculating show where we would watch these warriors with interesting backstories carefully plan how to kill one another, and suddenly someone would be killed off in the blink of an eye. However, the anime has become beyond predictable, and while almost everyone is complaining about the predictability, I'm fascinated by it. The order of deaths is predetermined. It hasn't been acknowledged in the anime, but viewers quickly discovered that deaths are occurring in reverse order of the zodiac. I refuse to believe this is a flaw. There has to be a catch. By making character deaths essentially irrelevant, we're able to focus on other aspects of the show. Unfortunately, I don't know what those other aspects are yet, but it most likely centers around whatever the rat's power is.
There's a rat in the show?
Yes, it's zodiac. Every character is a zodiac animal, essentially. Not literally, but they symbolize something from the zodiac. Sure. So there are scenes where the story pulls away from the battle royale, and we watch this mysterious group of elite people place bets on who will win, and that mysterious group is us. It's making fun of the audience who does nothing more than predict the obvious each week. Maybe I'm wrong, but we'll see. Now, I admit I was originally a little harsh on Netoju no Susume. It's a perfectly fine and cute romance anime with a slight MMO twist, and I'm enjoying it. Maybe more than I should be, so... I'm really enjoying just because it's a high school drama that isn't completely saturated with nothing more than misunderstandings. It has an unusually grounded outlook on the varying types of young love, and the overall atmosphere is surprisingly nuanced. As I mentioned in my first impressions, there's a distinct lingering and drawn-out pacing to the series, yet it manages to keep me invested and engaged. Inuyashiki is insane. This may not mean much to you guys, but by saying it's created by the guy who made Gantz, most listeners will understand what I mean by insane. Gore doesn't bother me. I have no problem with grotesque, hyper-violent shows or video games, but Inuyashiki was able to make me feel legitimately uncomfortable at times. No new anime has been able to evoke that level of eeriness in a very long time. I actually told you to watch Inuyashiki
Actually, so I looked into like I went to Mal, my anime list, and I looked up the airing anime for this season, and that was one that I had thought about watching. The other one, what's like the feel good one? There's a girl with purple hair. It starts with like an S.
Anime with purple hair, bro.
Blend S.
Blend S.
Blend S.
That's the other one I was considering.
Is it like a drama slice? I know.
That's literally all I know about it. The cover had a purple haired girl.
Because
Have you seen?
Monoka, where was it? Mandeka's box. I mean, has purple hair. So
That's an anime with purple hair. Have you seen Working?
is that the part timer? Is that the devil?
Nope.
That's called Devil is a Part. That's called Devil is a Part Timer.
Wait, Kyle, is Working the one where
That's also a drink.
Hold on, I gotta finish my drink to whatever this is.
Is Working the one where it's the dad where he's like, oh, I lost my company's job and the son has to work at a restaurant?
No, this is like.
It is Working.
No, I just said it's not.
That is Working, but it's not the anime Working.
There's an anime called Working with a lot of exclamation marks, and it's about these like 5 people
7 exclamation marks.
5 people, yep.
working at like a Denny's.
Why do I know that? I don't know.
Basically a Denny's. Japanese Denny's. But go on. So
That's it. Blend S is similar to that show.
Where it's just regular stuff? Damn. See, Working was horrible.
You're horrible,
dude.
and I hate your opinions. Girls Last Tour, Night Loki. We just need to finish this podcast so badly.
Nah, dude, we're good.
Girls Last Tour might low-key be my favorite thing this season. Kino no Tabi, being a hybrid remake of a cult classic, is already pre-established as a phenomenal anime. And that wraps up my opinions on things I'm watching. So let's wrap up, finally. If you have any questions or suggestions for episode topics, please send us as many as you would like. You can send them to myself at Secret Otaku on Tumblr, email us at theweeabooze@gmail.com, or leave just a comment wherever you're listening. Join us on Twitch for when we record live on Fridays around the middle of each month, and join us on our Discord so you can talk to us whenever you would like. Also, consider supporting us on Patreon or leaving an iTunes review if you like what we do. And more than anything, please share the podcast because word of mouth is pretty much the only way we get new listeners. And remember, I would also love to hear your feedback on how we should approach the podcast in the future if we want to shorten it in order to...
What do you mean shorten it?
Shorten it, make it a little bit easier for me because I do all the damn work.
Kyle, you never asked... Okay, wait. Kyle, you never asked us for help. Like, to be honest, you never sent me to say help.
Are
so
you any
that's
good
your
at,
fault. Like, to be honest, you never asked for help, so
Kevin,
you're that guy.
do you want to write next month's podcast
We
episode?
could. No, I can help you.
I appreciate you.
I appreciate you, bro.
I appreciate your appreciation.
Yeah.
Okay, you never asked, so it never happened. So if you never asked...
We'll work this out
I
off
like how Kevin
camera.
spun this into Kyle. This is your fault.
This is my fault.
It is his fault. He's saying that it is our fault for him doing all the work.
I'm not
saying
complaining.
you can ask for help.
I asked for help.
No, you don't. When was the last text you sent me was, Kevin, do you want to come? I'm like, hell yeah. Like, I don't
No,
mind.
you said like hard maybe. That's what you said. And I'm like,
Well, I said, okay, it was
You're
a
the
9.
worst. You're actually the worst.
Justin, I said 9.
Kevin, you're the worst
This is
friend.
turnaround.
we need to end right now. Shut up. Everyone shut up. We need to finish the podcast. So if you have any comments on how we could improve this podcast, which might be a lot of comments, please let me know.
You want Kevin back.
We want to thank Hentai Dude for our intro music and Kugato for our outro music. And like always, get
drunk.
Get drunk.
Dude, I prepared you for this.
say the word
And
say the word
Justin,
and.
say your thing. Because he
Get-
didn't tell me
get-
because he's a piece
get-
of shit.
Get drunk.
and
Weeaboos?
Holy shit, good enough. See you guys next month.
Text me!
Catch me smoking a sour off the coast of Okinawa. Feeling so high like I'm Ho-Oh in a tower. Take a flight on some shit. Got my dogs riding beside me, blazing hot. That's kamikaze, sacred fire. Don't be mad, I'm lit. Catch me smoking a sour off the coast of Okinawa. Feeling so high like I'm Ho-Oh in a tower. Take a flight on some shit. Got my dogs riding beside me, blazing hot. That's kamikaze, sacred fire. Don't be mad, I'm lit.
Alright, now this is Cal and Kevin's special occasion. For
Yeah,
the
this is
podcast.
our Kyle and Kevin hentai talk. So what's your favorite hentai, Kevin?
Right now I'm watching this Coliseum Harem
Uh-huh.
on hentaistream.com. It's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm into that. Right now I feel like hentai is going towards more of that incest stuff, but I feel like the incest stuff is just because people are just now liking the incest stuff, even on Pornhub.
Anime in general is going. Yeah, you're right. There's a lot of incest.
You know that,
just
right?
even-
This is not even in general. Like, I see it all the time. Like Pornhub, like what US is watching right now, incest stuff, and I'm like, it's the top 10.
This is not even going in the. Don't worry, you're free to say whatever.
Why are you talking about Pornhub right now? Like, for real?
No, we were talking about porn, and I was like, all right. I feel like incest is a very big category.
Kevin, can you shut
Yeah, I
that?
got you.